Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today I'm with Elliot again, and he's just finished, literally just finished Adepticon. It's, is it midnight or half 11 there, I think? It's incredibly
Yep.
early here, and I'm going to let him take the floor and give us a little rundown of Adepticon, how it was to play there, because it was Adepticon's first ever time doing a Kill Team event, and just kind of telling us about Adepticon in a quick half hour. Go for it.
So I've been playing Kill Team for 24 of the last 48 hours, I guess. It was 6 hour events, 2 hours a day, or 2 times a day for the last 2 days. So I played in uh, four Kill Team events, Friday and Saturday here at Adepticon. It's Saturday night now, and first off, it went really smooth. The terrain was great. We can definitely post some photos of that. It was definitely on the heavier side for sure. It was player placed terrain, which I think is something that's very different than probably what most people are used to. If you go to a local tournament, I mean, maybe you do it with your buddy or something, but it's not really gamed like that. If you play with your friend, you'll set up, to make things equal, but you can really actually game it for line of sight and things like that. And oftentimes there was so much terrain that it was challenging to place it all on the table. So that was definitely an interesting aspect as to how it impacted the meta. I think there was a tendency towards armies definitely that had assault preference. Um, there was guard rolling around with other special weapons and stuff, and I do think they were having a hard time. They had more success. And I was playing them at Nova, and so um, should we just go event by event, I guess?
Um, well, so obviously nobody else yet has actually had to like officially place terrain. How did that work? Was it just you roll off to see who places the first piece and then you alternate, or
Yeah, yeah. So pieces had to be 3 inches from each other. There was a lot. There was two large ruins, two of the the big 5 inch ruins. There was probably three of the smaller ones, that are in the shape. There was a couple of the tiny little pieces. There was statues, ammo boxes, pipes. I'm talking like 8, 9 pieces of terrain per table to place on this. This is super, super heavy. I mean, you could stack some of it. Some of them didn't have to be 3 pieces. Like you could put the pipes in last and stuff. But um, yeah, it was really interesting. And you do roll off at the end. You know, the loser picks deployment zone per the packet. So it's not like you're setting up for your side where like you that wins you the best piece. My experience, I think out of games, one player asked me to switch, just kind of anticipate that like that players won't really want to move sides. I did ask one player to move sides and just to assassinate his leader. I was kind of banking on that to score high. And so I didn't want him to be able to hide out in the piece that I had in my deployment zone. So I rolled lowest place first. I swapped around with him, and definitely worked out. Um, so I didn't really know what to expect from the format. I knew that we had 6 hours scheduled for the rounds for the entire event, and I didn't know how many games we'd be playing. So I knew that there was 64 players that were signed up, and that led me to believe, that we would need maybe 6 rounds or something to have an undefeated player with 64 players. So that instantly, affects your list building because there's going to be more than one undefeated player in the event. So if you want to win the entire event, you need to build with the mindset of maxing your points. And I think that that's not true for every single tournament, but if you want to be successful in tournaments, you need to understand what it's going to take to be successful in the format. And so we got there and there was only 3 rounds being played in the 6 hours. It was 1.5 hour rounds, which is, I mean, quite adequate. I mean, we do 45 minutes at my local gaming store. Nova LVO did an hour and 15, which I think is fine. You know, we know that elites are due soon. So if we go up to something like 150 points, you know, an hour and a half is, you know, probably going to be what I think would be appropriate. But so then when we got there, they started grouping all the players in groups of 8 within the entire tournament. And so it was your pod of 8 people. And so you would only play those people in your pod. And it definitely had an effect on, you know, who your pairings are. And granted, every tournament, you know, your path to success is always determined by opponents that you draw and stuff. But I mean, some pods, for example, had 3 or 4 Death Guard players in one pod, and you know they were swamping each other, and it has, you know, just a massive impact. And you could kind of look around your pod and be like, oh, this is going to be super tough. You know some of the people in it. Chuck was there from LVO. He got 3rd place.
To be clear, that's
Eric.
Necron Chuck.
Yep.
Yep.
Necron Chuck was there. He won several of his pods. I know he won at least 2. And so if you go, since there's only 3 rounds, if you go 3-0, you win your pod. And then the overall champion is determined by the person that has the highest total score for the event.
Oh, okay.
And
So just to
yep,
clarify, you play your 8 people in the pod, and then the pod
yep.
finishes, and then there isn't like that's it. There isn't any further continuation. It's not like the top of each pod plays. It's purely by points.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I thought there'd be more rounds, but I was planning on maxing points because I figured that, you know, even if we played 4 or 5 rounds, that we wouldn't. So I think that's a super important component of building for a competitive army, is that, you know, when you take a look at these arena missions and you look at these competitive play missions, if you're looking at some of these secondaries and you don't have the setup to take it down, I don't know if the kill team really can be successful, honestly. A lot of that has to do with having a really great utility priced trooper. You know, I mean, I don't know how these people can do it with 5, and I don't think they had much success. I mean, even when Chuck was running, I think you have to run at least 8 guys, in my opinion. I mean, I think about 12 is um, in that sweet spot, and I'm really interested to see how a potential expansion could affect some of these teams that are driving some of these lower numbers. So the Friday morning pod was won by this guy named Charlie Pass. So he beat me, and I wasn't actually in a position to win the overall tournament because I had only scored 10 points. In game 2, that was one of the 2 games that I had played at the event where I wasn't able to finish. We only got 3 rounds in, just
Sorry,
barely.
just quickly,
So, you know,
you were playing Death Guard, right?
so I was playing Death Guard, Poxwalker spam the entire tournament so far. There's one
Yeah.
more tomorrow. My friend's playing in the Age of Sigmar Champions, so I'm thinking about going. I don't have a ticket, but I think I'll be able to get in. I think I need something new to play because I've just been playing Death Guard and it's been going really, really well. But I think so. I was running 15 Poxwalkers and then a flail guy, a leader, and then a blight launcher. And I had the option for demo or heavy blight launcher, and it was just. I mean, earlier today I went 18, 18, 18.
Very
Just
impressive.
complete.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it varies between you know, new people and people that I have known in the community, seen at multiple events. I played George Rollins today. I played Chuck yesterday. You know, so it really varies who gets in your pod, definitely. But this evening as well, I was able to get 18, 17, 18. So, um, So yeah, I had really great success. So I've got the medals here. So I
Now
pulled.
those are very cool looking medals, I've got to say.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
They're so cool. So the pod winners got medals, and then the best overall gets one with a special inscription on the back. So
So,
today,
what is
was just
best overall exactly? Is it yeah.
so it's the highest. It's the highest points in the tournament, basically. So there's pod winner medals,
Okay.
and then there's the highest overall. Um,
Does that mean
so
you
Charlie
won?
beat me in the. What's that?
Does that mean it's first place?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Okay, so despite having a loss, you took first place in the tournament.
Nope. So I played in four. So Charlie beat me in the morning, and he ran up a score on me. I had like two poxwalkers left on the table. It was just an absolute slaughter. That was yesterday morning. I took four of the specialists instead. I went against my spam because I thought I had equal numbers to him. He knocked out two of my plague walkers in the first round. It was a tragedy.
What
So
was he what was he playing?
he was running Gene Stealer Cult, and honestly, when I knew I was playing Gene Stealer Cult, I was like, I've got this. Like Gene Stealer Cult is trash, right? Like I honestly, I didn't think they were a good faction, and now I'm actually kind of interested in them because I mean
Very cool.
they've got they've got some heavy weapons, they've got special weapons. The Aberrant or whatever, he's a madman. They can take some mid tier assault guys, whatever the metamorphs are or whatever. The
So,
um
sorry, he ran an aberrant in his list.
he did,
The
yeah,
madman.
yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, and he cut my leader in half. Yeah, on the center objective, but it was so desperate by then anyway. Yeah, I played an error too. I went out for a decisive shot to try to make it, and I forgot to do it, and he killed me out in the open. Again, hitting me like on a five though, with is it the mining laser? I don't know what the nasty one is.
Uh, there,
Um,
mining laser, seismic cannon. Who knows? Yeah.
yeah. So he had one of each. Yeah, and I don't know which one, but he connected two for two, turn one and two on the first turn, and just really put me on my place. So he took best overall in the first one, um, and then I took best overall last night, this morning, and tonight. So
That's very
I
impressive.
mean, I'm feeling on a hot streak. Obviously, I'm really deeply satisfied with the Poxwalkers. I mean, it's so hard to compete against them. Like, just if you don't, I was playing a lot of different. There was such diversity of tournament, I guess, and I saw just a lot of it from. I played Admech, Space Marines, Necrons. I don't think I played any Tau, other Death Guard, Thousand Suns, Death Watch. It was, and that's the thing I really like is that it seemed really well represented just in what people were bringing. I didn't see any of the. I saw a couple Tyranids, definitely some of the high count, um, but I never ran into them, and I don't know what was holding them back. I guess from achieving the top scores, but I mean, it really just can take one game to knock you. Um,
Yeah, I think obviously since LVO happened, everyone's been a little bit scared that Tyranid spam, who I think it was Miguel in LVO won with that Tyranid spam list, and since then everyone's been really quite scared that that is the meta. And now everyone has to run Tyranids because obviously it's a swarm list that can ignore a swarm list biggest issue of leadership. But you haven't found that at all, in fact.
no, I had so at Nova, I was running a 10 model count guard list. I had numerous leadership issues, break test issues. It was it was a serious concern, and it almost cost me some games. If I hadn't been so devastating on the front end of those games and just knocking out my opponents and knowing how to use the stratagem and getting lucky with some ones and stuff like that, I wouldn't have held on. So I really got out by the skin of my teeth on a few of those. I didn't have to make George. Roland's got me like one model away from making a break test with his Gelpox. He was running Gelpox the entire of this. It was really interesting.
Well, I wonder what is interesting, Elliot. Unfortunately, technical issues, and also this was only ever meant to be a quick introduction to Adepticon and not a full rundown of every single game Elliot had played so far, the meta, etc. But all of that will be coming, hopefully, very soon as me and Elliot can get back in touch. He's now about to play the rest of Sunday, and either Kill Team or AOS, depending on what he fancies. Hopefully, once he's back home, we'll get back in touch and give you a rundown of everything we really want to know. The lists that were competing well, lists that he struggled against, lists that were winning. It seems like he was winning, mainly. Three medals. Crazy. And I'm also hoping to get other people on that have played at Adepticon. Certainly in my Discord, I know that there's Chuck the Necron player, Eric, who I think is playing Drakari. Don't quote me on that, though. And there's also a bunch of others as well. But I don't know, I haven't asked them yet. Okay, anyway, sorry that this video cut off so abruptly. I've done this little outro instead. I don't know about you guys, but certainly I, for one, am heartened that 2-minute spam hasn't really been the big thing. And obviously, subsequently puts Miguel, the person that won LVO, a little bit higher in regard. Obviously, because everybody was kind of saying, oh, the list won. But no, apparently Miguel won, which is good stuff. Anyway, have you been to Adepticon? Did you enjoy it? If you haven't been to Adepticon, I hope I can give you the experience of going, but kind of in a weird, abstract, not going there, and more like knowing about the stats of the teams that go there. It's not a perfect system. Anyway, also, don't forget, guys, next weekend I am actually going to Warhammer World, where we're playing on arena boards. Something tells me, and I'm very scared, that even though the ticket price was more than Adepticon, we're not going to get medals. There's a rant coming up about that. Yeah. Anyway, God's off dead. Hope you all had a great day. Goodbye.